Kelly, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Really good.
Good. I'm pleased. Hello to you joining us for episode 11 of A Measure of Marketing, all about podcasting and our learnings and our reflections from podcasting for the last 6 months. We started in March, didn't we?
6 months. Feels longer than that in a good way. Yeah, I feel like 11 episodes is good going. It's a lot of talking time.
It's a lot of talking time. It is a lot of coffee consumed as well.
Yes, a lot of coffee consumed. Yeah, so for International Podcasting Day, we're doing a little special episode, which is exciting. We've both got 3 things. I don't know what your 3 things are.
No, I'm quite excited to share with you actually three learnings or 3 things that I have learned since we've started podcasting that I didn't know when we started out, and possibly should have done with a little bit more research, but you don't learn until you start and you get going. So yeah,
I'm excited to see the difference between your 3 things and my 3 things,
or the same. They could be the same thing.
Could be the same. Who knows?
Okay, should I start then? I'm gonna try and do a whistle stop tour of my first one and then hand back to you.
Yes, go.
Okay, so my first learning is around some little bits of paper. Style.
Beautiful handwriting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Style of podcasts. So we have tested and we've tried different styles of podcasting in our episodes, from having a conversation like this to a kind of more script of points that we wanted to hit for people, and kind of more of a list. And then we've done kind of guest episodes where it's been a bit more kind of urban approach with like interviewing and stuff. And I think before we started, I didn't realize that there were these different types or formats of podcasting, because I haven't listened to many podcasts, to be honest. It's never been my bag. It's changed now. So yeah, I didn't realize that we could have chosen a different route to base it on, but I love how we've tried different styles, and I think finding our niche has been very much us just having an open discussion, and all we know precursor is that it's going to be a 15-minute chat about X, Y, or Z. So yeah. Say again.
That turns into 30 minutes instead.
Or 30 minutes. Yeah, we're going to work on that for the next episodes. So yeah, I think around style, I've definitely learned that there are different styles and formats of podcasts that I didn't realize before.
Yeah, I'm enjoying trying different styles as well. And yeah, meeting different people and guests and doing quick fire rounds, and it challenges us as well, doesn't it, at the same time, to particularly stick to the time frame.
Well, we're chatters, so yeah, and that can work in our favour, but sometimes it can go against us. So on that note, what's your first learning?
Not working our favour for our listeners instead. Number 1 for me is it's easier than what I expected, because I think you watch The Diary of the CEO. I listen to these podcasts on Spotify and people recommend podcasts. I'm like, oh, imagine doing that. Like the equipment they need, and they need a special room, and they need this, that, and the other. And you don't. Like, we use basic software. We're on our laptops, we're apart, and it's more around just having that like flow of conversation, and choosing your topic and making sure that you think a little bit about it, or just almost like letting the knowledge that you have, if you're talking about a topic that you're passionate about, it flows. And that is actually easier than what we imagine. I think if we get out of our own way, and I think this comes down to content creation overall, if you get out of your own way and just let your own experience and knowledge come up, then it will. Most people can talk about what they are passionate about, and therefore it has been a lot easier than what I expected.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually. Yeah, to get going, a lot easier than I thought.
Your number 2?
My number 2 is around guests. So I thought when we'd started, and this sort of goes back into my first learning around style, I thought that it would just be us kind of chatting, discussing. But when we started, I think we kind of got into the first few episodes, we started to receive requests to have people on as guests, or people offered their time to say, I'd love to join you, love to chat about this, love to chat about that. And I hadn't even considered when we started out that we could adopt that format of having people on that anyone would want to come on. And I have learned so much, particularly from Beth's episode, from having a dedicated specialist in web design to just sit and listen. And I know about the subject, but to, you know, as well as us sharing our knowledge and experience with listeners and watchers, reviewers, for me, I didn't realise by having guests on that I would learn as much as what I did, and that was just Beth's. And I know we've got guests coming up over the next kind of 3 or 4 episodes, which I'm really excited about, particularly the next one. Yeah, I hadn't thought that we would have guests on and that I would learn from them as much as what I know I will do.
Yeah, the next couple of guests are exciting, and topics as well that like I touch on, but it's just good to get a different perspective. And yeah, kind of links into my number 2. So I've put, you learn a lot as you talk, and I probably wasn't thinking just about guests when I wrote that note down. I feel like as I've spoken to you, although it's topics that we delve into constantly, just as you're talking to somebody else, even if it was someone that doesn't know about marketing, you realize how much you know. And that makes, it kind of gets rid of the imposter syndrome a little bit, because we all experience that. But it's a bit of a confidence boost sometimes that you're like, oh, I do know a lot about that topic. And you can watch it back and you can chop that content up in different ways, and it makes you think of something else, and then it makes you think about what you're doing when you are doing that piece of work on that topic we've just talked about. And it's just kind of like opened my mind up a little bit more, and it's just been really helpful to make me realize how much we do both know together, and like our expertise. I knew it, but sometimes you just need a bit of confirmation every 3.
Do you know, though, it's funny because when we put recording into all the branded, templates and everything else to put out and upload to YouTube, we naturally listen to it as we go, and we don't edit, but we have to put it all in together. I hear clips and I hear bits of it, and I go, oh, did I say that? Did come out with that, and I get what you're saying. It kind of, it's like, oh, I did know something. I did know. It's silly, isn't it?
I read a blog back, like Scan read a blog of mine the other last week before I sent it to someone, and I was like, I didn't pay for someone. But no, it's definitely me. Like, it's either me or ChatGPT. Okay, no, it was me. But
Who was you, mate?
I was proud of it. But these are the same. Like, if I listen back to some, maybe that's the thing. Like the imposter syndrome day, I listen back to these episodes, and it will make
give you a boost.
Yeah. What's your 3?
Okay. My third and last one is around momentum. So we started out with the aim to have 1 episode a month. And I think we slowly realised that we could probably fit in 1 every 3 weeks. And there was demand for 1 more regularly than that. And we started to churn them out a bit quicker. And I think there's something to be had with momentum around podcasting. And now I've kind of got into it. People release them once a week or once every 2 weeks. And I reckon if we could do it once every 2 weeks, it would be a lot better. Because if you think about it, in a year, if we'd have just done 1 a month, we'd have ended up with 12 in a year. And that actually doesn't feel very much. But I think with our work patterns and routines and lifestyle, actually trying to fit in 1 every 3 weeks with all the marketing that goes with it is just enough. But I think momentum, I have learned, is actually really important. And there's a difference between that regularity, but keeping the momentum between each one and not letting that drop. Because I think I get messages from people saying, when's the next episode coming, and they don't necessarily know it's every 3 weeks, and I go, oh, it'll be next Wednesday, or it's coming, just recorded it. So there is a want for that momentum or that regularity or consistency of episode drops. And I didn't realize how important that would be when we got going.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, maybe 2 weeks. It is it's the bit around it though, like the admin bit, isn't it? And also
and the ideation and planning and
I think we've got that nailed. I think we have to have like a half an hour set in the every week. So half an hour one week where we just chat, because we have a bit of a hello, how are you? And
a counselling session.
Too long. We have a counselling session before we record. So we do a counselling session before.
We need to plan it a little bit better, but it's an option that we could try and pick it up.
Air time, just you and I, and then actual air. My number 3 kind of feels like the last 2 points, but in my head it was different to the last 2 points. I wrote down, it doesn't feel like content creation and pressure, it feels informative and educational. And I think when I wrote that, I was thinking for our audience, I know there's a lot of pressure around content creation, the consistency of it, they're coming up with new ideas constantly, and I think I was reflecting. And there you have 3 learnings each about podcasting for International Podcasting Day. The 4th learning, I am here solo, is when you're creating podcast and content in video format, you will have technical errors. The reality is, and the more and more you create content, you'll realize that the reality of what you see when you're listening and when you're consuming content is very different to the reality behind the scenes. The learning from Hayley and I, our 4th learning, is that you have to re-record some episodes. We've had some technical errors on this one. We've filmed twice and there's been a corrupt file each time, and we're having to piece together recordings based on time, deadlines that we've set for ourselves, meetings and client work, and going away for weekends, and the admin that comes in between of pulling a podcast together. So yeah, that's our 4th learning, to be honest. You have to plot twist, you have to take content creation lightly and pivot and be flexible with it. And this is why I am outroing us probably for the 3rd time now. So thank you for listening to episode 11 to celebrate International Podcasting Day. We hope our learnings come in helpful, and also hope that it encourages you to enjoy content creation, be flexible with it, try podcasting, learn from other people that are doing it as well, and give it a go. Episode 12 will be a guest episode. We're excited for this one. I'm not going to share too much about it. The only thing I'll say, it is focused on a content type, one that 6 years ago, 5 years ago, we probably wouldn't have imagined that we would have to be experts in it, and we would be creating content of this type so often. You'll probably work out what that content type is, but yeah, we're going to have an expert on with us in episode 12, supporting you as small business owners on how to create this content type efficiently, effectively, and authentically. So we're excited for you to join us on that. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.